Batman. I'm a full-time deputy with the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office. I'm also the historian for this agency. I have a lot of people come to me all the time asking me about what it is that I'm finding, what it is that I'm doing, and wanting to get a peek at the collection. Unfortunately, we're kind of in a secure part of the facility, so this isn't really something open up to the public as much as I would love to share this with the public. So I try to share as much as I can via our Facebook page, Badge and Brass, and that's also kind of the name of the project. It started off as a writing project for a book called Badge and Brass. And one thing led to another, and next thing I know, we have a collection of literally thousands of pieces. So although you can't come visit this right now, although I certainly hope that we can change that in the future, I thought I'd give you a walkthrough and kind of share with you what it is that I am doing and let you kind of see for yourself. I've been graciously offered this office for use for the history stuff, and it's not my office. I don't consider it my office. I consider it the historical collection. There's a lot of things in here right now. There's a lot of things that's not in here right now, and I'm going to share those with you here in a little bit. But this is kind of like where I come. I volunteer on my days off, and I come here and utilize this space to do a lot of research, try to understand stuff, try to interpret what it is that I'm seeing. There's a lot of things covered up in plastic. Whenever I leave for the day, I cover everything up in plastic because the facility itself, it has some issues, and we're trying to get those addressed and fixed. Hopefully, maybe one day even a new facility. So I have to cover everything up in plastic before I come here. If I get tired, I use this pillow to sleep. No, I'm just kidding. This pillow is actually used to support the binds of a lot of these books when we're opening them because they're pretty bad shape. The books I have up in my office right now, these are our original ledgers going all the way back to 1890, are really in bad shape. There's a lot of mildew, mold, rot, and some other stuff. So I have them in particular containers here to protect certain ones. I also have officers that are donating a lot of things to us now. This is a lovely set of saddlebags that was given to us not too long ago by Randy Gardner. Thank you, Randy. I really appreciate it. And then uniforms from other officers. We actually found this green jacket here down in the basement, brand new, still has the tag on it from Sheriff Sharp's days. Sheriff Sharp is noteworthy because he's the first sheriff to actually introduce uniforms to all of our deputies. Prior to that, we were simply in plain clothes. I have a lot of different items here, one-offs, old holsters and such. Some old case records and files, a lot of to-do boxes, things I put away and kind of protect. You got there Machine Gun Kelly on the top there. This here is one of our time clocks back in the day. Officers who were working rounds and such, they would go around, and there were certain keys. If you see that keyhole right there, they would hang in certain areas and certain stations, and they would have to put that key in there, turn the key, and it would time stamp a round piece of paper inside to prove that they actually made those rounds. It's kind of a documentation of that. Here I have a watercolor painting that was donated by Sheriff Turner. I can't take it out of the plastic right now. The frame is kind of in bad shape. A collection of books and such and resources that really helped me out. Some of them have been donated and contributed. Photographs. I've been working on a challenge coin for the collection. I'm hoping to have that available sometime in the near future. Here's a stack of biographies on the sheriffs themselves. I'm working my way down the list, and as you can see, all that red ink is showing that there's a lot of changes. There's discoveries that we're making that we didn't know before. There's 3 sheriffs that we didn't know that we had before. Pretty fun stuff. And as you can see, some of those sheriffs have thicker biographies than others. It's a very long, time-consuming process to try and find all that we can. The computer, all the equipment that you see in here was donated for use by individuals and the sheriff and other officers. The sheriff's office doesn't have anything in the budget, like I said, and they have donated all of this material for use here. I try and do my best to be respectful of everything here. I wear gloves, and you'll probably see me wearing gloves all the time because a lot of these wonderful artifacts you'll see here in a moment still have like the original fingerprints on them and such. This is a microfiche reader. I can't use it right now. The lenses are out of whack. I've got to get someone who actually knows how to work on these kinds of machines. This is something out of the 1980s now. And to help me look at some of these old microfiche records that we have on file. Up here is a collection of the badges. I found a photograph of our very first badge, and so I've been working with a group to try and recreate those badges, and soon I think that we'll be ready to go. I want to use this as a fundraising effort in the future. The original badges that were issued were probably a stock badge out of, say, Kansas or such, and it said just deputy sheriff, and then the sheriff added Oklahoma County locally in a script font, so that would be original to the original, and then the deputy's name was added to the badge as well. I really couldn't tell you if the deputy just did that on their own or if it was added by the sheriff's office. This here is a clock that was manufactured probably about 1880 to 89 in that time frame. I have it up here as kind of like a background noise. This is a clock that would have been ticking away at the time that a lot of the materials that are written in these books was being written. And so it's kind of like a way of kind of putting me back in that time frame. Here we have a window from our Bearcat the last December that was used in Yukon. This was a window that actually protected the life of one of our deputies. They replaced the window recently, and the sheriff thought, since that was a kind of a historical thing, that we'd go ahead and put this in our collection as well. You'll see over here on the wall a lot of photographs and yellow sticky notes here. These are the different sheriffs through time. I have photographs for all of these sheriffs. I'm just trying to acquire the better image of the ones that I want. I'm only missing one. I'm having a lot of trouble trying to find an image. I believe that the one is out there, so hey, if any of you are following a lot of these things that I'm doing, Sam Calhoun, he was a sheriff that was only a sheriff for 38 days, and that's when he reigned. If you have a photograph of Sam Calhoun, Oklahoma County Sheriff, please let me know. One of the other things I want to share with you here were, to me, probably one of the more valuable aspects of our collection, and that's the ledgers themselves. These particular books are amongst our oldest. These books here I keep on my desk. These are unfortunately pretty toxic. I usually keep them wrapped up in plastic all the time. They're lined in suede and leather. That's how they're bound, and they're really amazing books. These are from the 1890s, and they really show a lot of history when it comes to some of the financial aspects, some of the civil aspects, and some of the jail records. Among our oldest books, hold on just a moment, they're right over here. These two ledgers right here are actually our very first ones. I've tried to put down as much information as I can. You can see these tags here, kind of gives you some dates and ideas of what these reach. All of these books, I'm doing my best to catalog, assess, try and put in as much information as I can about what's wrong with them, etc. And we do have issues with the books. I put this book up here as an example. This is a really great book from a really good time period for us. But as you can see with the binding and stuff, most of these bindings are detached completely. The books themselves are in dire need of restoration. Inside of this particular book, this particular one, I open up to a page where they're kind of scribbling around here. Here we go. We'll kind of show you what this would look like. This is what we call a jail calendar. So they would list an individual. This would be the number of the person, I guess, coming in for that particular month. So this here is April 1914. And so here they'll talk about the date that they were committed and discharged, what the cause was. In a lot of the early books, murder is very prevalent. Show the authority committing, usually like the judge or the deputy that was involved in the arrest, and then over on this side would be the disposition. Now, in this particular one, this is kind of cool. This is looks like R.B. Brown, the 17th intake. W would be for White. This would be the date that he was brought in, April 3rd. And he was discharged April 10th at 10 p.m. He was brought in for grand larceny, but the reason why he was taken or sent out was sent to rest, house, smallpox. So, you know, that's pretty cool to find this kind of history in these books. They're in really bad shape, though, unfortunately. For us to restore these books, it cost about $500 a book, and that's just a lot of funds that I certainly don't have because I'm working out of my pocket. But there are some plans in play, hopefully that will help this collection in the future. This is another really great book I wanted to share with you because of a very unique entry in this particular jail register. The earliest entry here is actually from 1893. I found this book in the basement along with others. This particular one was kind of what I call blown up. Their pages were everywhere. I was able to kind of put it together. I'm hoping that maybe those missing pages will be somewhere. But in this particular book, I want to share with you a particular entry. Let me get it here. I'm doing this one-handed here. And I have to be real careful, too, because these pages are very fragile, considering how this was found. So what's really neat about this particular book is that here, March 1st, 1895, we have John Milligan here. John Milligan. He was arrested for murder. He murdered his entire family, and at the age of 22, he was ordered by the court to be hung. So this particular book has that entry of his hanging. It's the only hanging in Oklahoma County, a legal hanging in Oklahoma County. And so you see here, March 13th, 1895, at 12:01 p.m., he was hung. He was a black man. And this here, they made special note because they understood the importance of it, that this was the first legal hanging in Oklahoma. And it was also the first execution and the only legal execution in Oklahoma County ever, which I thought was pretty cool. Here is talking about Sheriff DeFore, of course, was the sheriff at the time. We have a photograph of that particular scene about 15 minutes prior to the hanging itself, and I'll show that to you here in just a moment, which is really cool. So I also wanted to bring your attention to the fact that everything that I'm doing, you can follow online. I have a great Facebook page called Badge and Brass. Lots of photos, lots of information. I encourage you to come over to it, like it, share it. The more people who know about what's going on here, the more chance you're going to get our information that we don't have, artifacts that we didn't know about. Badges, firearms, uniforms, whatever the case may be. I really need all your help to help pull all of our history back together. This is part of a greater project initiated a little while back called SOS Save Our Story. And I really encourage you all to help out as much as you can. I really wish that I could bring all of you back here and share with you all of this wonderful history all the time. It does matter. I keep this here on my desk. This is a memorial that we did for Sheriff Garrison. He was a sheriff that was killed in the line of duty in 1908. And we found out that he was in an unmarked grave. And through the generous donation and support of others, within 30 days we were able to have a new marker put on his grave. A beautiful historic marker that outlines the entire story of the shootout and what had happened. I've been researching Sheriff Garrison and his son Harvey, who was the undersheriff at the time of his father's death, and who then became a sheriff afterwards. It's quite rife with a lot of intrigue, and I'm hoping to share that information soon in the book Badge and Brass, of course. So the other image here, real quick, to close everything out, is the image of the only legal execution. You can find this on Badge and Brass. This is not of the actual hanging itself. This is probably about 15 minutes before the actual hanging. I've been able to verify a lot of this stuff through history, eyewitness accounts, and of course through the photograph and the ledgers themselves now. And so this is really great information. Again, I encourage you to come over to the Facebook page, Badge and Brass, share it with all your friends. Lots of stuff here, and I just want, it's about the only way I can share it with anyone. So this is my first video. Hopefully I can do some more in the future, especially about particular things that I uncover and find. And I really appreciate all of your ongoing support, and I hope to see you all again on here real soon.